So what can the opposition party do? Very little. You can make great speeches and draw a huge audience, right? I'm Chua Beng Huat. I'm a professor of sociology at NUS. I'm also a professor of urban studies at Yale NUS College. And I have been teaching since 1985, so about 35 years already. Most citizens really are more concerned about housing, education, healthcare, and employment, right? All of these activities, right, basically promotes political support. So for most people, as long as those areas are well managed, which they are under the PAP government, the legitimacy of the government is very high, although there are still, about 6% who are too poor to even be able to buy a house. That's why there is a poverty problem, right? So even though the level of popular support fluctuates, right, like 2011 is sank to 60%, in the end, the majority support has always been there. Everything. Seriously, I think the real problem is really the policy that the PAP actually put in place, right, are so productive that no opposition party can imagine doing differently. If you are in the opposition party, you cannot imagine giving up public housing. You cannot imagine giving up state capitalism. You cannot imagine giving up multiracialism. So all the major policy areas that really impact people's lives, right, is very difficult to come up with alternative policies. So the opposition party is actually left with areas that the government really doesn't pay much attention to because it will not seriously affect its main middle ground support. So what can the opposition party do? Very little. You can make great speeches and draw a huge audience, right? The party always has a focus on the masses rather than on individuals. That's the core of the idea of communitarianism. This ideology actually works itself out in public policy. The national public housing policy would have been not possible if the government did not nationalize land. Essentially, the land was needed both for housing the people and for economic development of the nation. And also, we are one of the few countries where the entire development of the country physically doesn't involve loans from any international organizations. It's the government borrowing from the citizen to develop our own self. The CPF gives the government access to a very large capital. So that is really an important core of this emphasis on collective well-being. A lot of people go to the opposition party to hear their grievances being vocalized by the opposition leaders. If you are in the lower end working class, you want to go there and listen to people complain about inequality. You want to go there and people who can talk about how poverty is a problem. They are important in precisely giving voice to issues where the government, in the interest of capturing the majority, is not paying enough attention. If I were in the opposition party, I would still keep running, but I would not count on winning. I would actually run the party with an explicit slogan that we're not here to win elections. But, we are here to have the rights to publish a party newspaper, to talk about issues. We retain the rights during, election time, the rights to make speeches. These rallies, right, are not actually just for the constituency they run, right? They come from all over Singapore. But on voting days, they kind of disappeared, right? That tells you that the PAP has a very strong hold on the middle ground. In the end, the majority support has always been there, and I expect it to continue for quite a long time.